Hi everybody. So today we're going to talk some more about the Galactic Center, some more Galactic Center thoughts. Specifically though, when I get into it, I want to talk about the Super Galactic Center and whatever the fuck opposes the Super Galactic Center. Still not sure what that is, but I have some ideas and I've had some thoughts about this. Before I get started though, just a couple things. First of all, I am not a GC expert. I want to start with my disclaimer. Y'all are probably tired of hearing it, but for anybody that happens to stumble upon these videos and haven't seen the other ones, I want the disclaimer out there. I am not a GC expert. I have a lot of astrological knowledge, but this is one area where I really am just fucking with astrology. Please don't take these as gospel, or that I'm saying that I'm absolutely true or right in what I say. Because I'm not saying that at all. It is really just all fucking around at this point. But, yeah. Just want to throw that out there. And second of all, what got me thinking about this is this past week on Instagram, I did a live with Elle of Stellar Sanctum. They invited me on to talk about the Galactic Center. They're interested in this too. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. So we did the live and I have a conjunction to the Super Galactic Center. My South Node is conjunct the Super GC. And interestingly enough, they have their North Node conjunct the Super GC. So this was kind of cool to talk to somebody about this kind of stuff that's nodal axis is flipped from mine. But it got me thinking some more about the Super GC and specifically about what opposes the Super GC. What that actually is. So that's kind of why my mind is focused on this particular thing. Also, I want to mention on Tuesday, February 15th at 3 p.m. CST, I will be hosting an Instagram live with Elle of Stellar Sanctum. We'll be talking not about the GC this time. We'll be talking about love in the natal chart, since Valentine's Day is Monday, or today. I think I'm posting this on Valentine's Day, so it's today. Happy Valentine's Day. You can join if you want. My Instagram is Saturn Season Astrology. Join, watch us, check it out. If you have any questions, put them in there during the live. So I want to mention that, and then there will also be there'll be a second part too. This one won't be live. We'll be filming it, and I'll be putting it on YouTube probably on Thursday. So if you have any questions or anything that you want addressed that don't get addressed in the live, they can be addressed in the in the YouTube video, in the video that we do for YouTube. But I guess I also want to mention this, not only so you'll join the IG live if you want to, but also because the videos this week on YouTube might be a little different. They might be posted on different days. I just want to make mention of that. That I'm not going anywhere or anything. It's just they might be a little wonky this week. But anyway, back to the Galactic Center and the Super Galactic Center. So I've been thinking about this a lot after this conversation that we had on IG Live. And also maybe a week or two ago, a friend of mine and myself, we were talking about the Super Galactic Anti-Center. Rather, I was kind of rambling, I guess. They were listening. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, so the Galactic Center in our galaxy, right? Lots of energy there. Lots and lots and lots of energy. Same thing with the Super GC. Shitload of energy. Shit ton of energy. Now, the Galactic Anti-Center, what opposes the GC, is a place in the sky that's very, very calm and is very, it's a much calmer area of the sky. There's space dust and bullshit that kind of cover it, that kind of fog it over in a sense. It's next to a very bright star, which has the name Elnath. So it does feel like that this area of the sky is a little bit more blinded. It's also harder to see due to being in the zone of avoidance. And there, if this whole area of the sky just feels harder to see clearly. Now, if you have planets there, it feels like it would be harder to see or feel those planets clearly. Not like you can't feel them at all or see them at all, but they're just not seen as clearly. Now, it also feels like with all of the stuff going on at the Galactic Center, all the energy, that there could be like an overflow of energy from the GC or something like it that could be triggered by transits and things like that, where the energy kind of shoots over to the anti-center and shocks it, making any planets that conjunct the anti-center like a lightning rod of sorts, attracting that overflow of energy. Now, when that area of the chart, and I do think it gets shocked, when it gets shocked, it illuminates, kind of lights up that area of the sky and that planet in such a way that it can be felt or seen in a more clear way. The shocking does feel like it's painful, or not easy, but it does light it up to where it can be seen in a different way. That's how it feels to me. This is kind of where I'm going with that, with the GC and the GC and the anti-center in our galaxy. Now, when I was talking to my friend about this, about the supergalactic anti-center, I don't think it functions the same way. Not exactly. I do think it's a calmer area of the sky because I don't even know what the fuck is there. Science doesn't seem to. Nobody really talks about what's there. So I'm not really sure what the fuck is there. I don't think there's really that much there. And I was talking to my friend, I was saying, I wonder if this could be like an area that's like nothingness, kind of. Not that that's bad or good, but just like nothingness. And I think they were like, oh, you mean like blank ocean space? And I kind of laughed. I'm like, yeah, kind of like blank ocean space on a map where there's nothing there. You know, it just says, it's just like a blue square Pacific Ocean. You know, there's fucking nothing there. You know, or blank space. Now, what does that mean? If, you know, obviously that's a calm, I guess. You know, it's calmer. There's nothing really going on, which would make sense because the supergalactic center has a shitload of energy, right? There's a lot of energy there too. I mean, it's the center of the meta galaxy, or a cluster of galaxies that we are a part of. So there's a shitload of energy there. So it would make sense for whatever opposes the super GC to be a calmer area, or like not really there being a whole lot going on. I do think eventually something might be found, but it just might be that we haven't caught up with that yet. Like when Philip Sedgwick did the work that he did on the GC, I believe it was in the early 80s. I could have the dates wrong, but I think it was in the 80s. I'm not sure if we even knew that the Galactic Anti-Center existed, because I don't ever really see him mention it. So it could be that science just like in 30 years, 40 years, we might know it's at the the super galactic anti-center, you know, that might be found then, but, or might be know more about them, but science just might not have caught up yet. What we know in that way. So right now I'm kind of going with the idea that it might be like blank ocean space or blank space. Now, since this is going on in Aries, right, the super GC is, right now it's like at 2 degrees Libra. So that puts the supergalactic anti-center at 2 degrees Aries. Now, when I think about that, you know, when I think about blank ocean space or blank space, I think of like pioneering into the unknown, kind of. Because that blank, you know, when we think about like blank ocean space or even blank space, there's something not totally known about it, right? You don't really know what's there. And there does seem like you would take that Aryan quality that can be fearless and taking initiative and pioneering, being pioneering, that would need to be utilized in this space. And I guess I also mentioned that because this notion of blank ocean space, if that's what it is, does feel like the person that has like planets in this area. And I would use, I know I went out further on, casted a wide net for the GC, conjunctions to the GC and to the super GC. For this particular thing, I might bring it in a little bit. Like, I might say 5 degrees applying and separating, like planets that happen to be anywhere from, I don't know, 27 Pisces to 7 degrees Aries planets, or Chiron, or the nodes, or the angles, or something, some in midpoint. Those planets do feel like they could get lost, or points or whatever do feel like they might get lost in this blank ocean space, in this blank space, like they could, if initiative wasn't taken, if the person wasn't fearless with the way they handled it, with the way, it feels like the person could get lost, and or they could lose their way in terms of that planet functioning. So it's not blinded like at the Galactic Anti-Center, but it does feel like a blinding, just in a different way, more like in a getting lost. So I would say I do think it's important to understand planets that happen to be in this area of the chart, and to take real initiative, real action with these planets or whatever. Especially since there's so much energy on the other end of the axis at the super GC. And the super GC, you know, I know Philip Sedgwick has wrote about it being about relationships. And I definitely can see that being the case, since it is in Libra. I can see this being the case. But I don't think relationships are the only thing here. I think there's a balance thing too. There's a balance thing going on. Definitely with the self, something with the self and the other, for sure. But I do think balance plays in, or even pleasing plays in, right? Like I could see too much pleasing at the super GC, or balance could get in the way of the person pioneering or or taking initiative or things like that at the other end, at the super galactic anti-center. I could see that happening. And I could see that happening even if there are no planets conjunct the super GC. I could still see it happening a little bit, though I think it probably is stronger when you've got a planet or something conjunct the super GC and a planet conjunct the super galactic anti-center. I think it probably happens regardless. I do think it's stronger though if you have a planet conjunct planet or something conjunct the super GC too, though. And I think it might swing more, things might swing more in that planet's favor, or in the super GC's favor in that way, just because there's so much energy there. Now, I also want to mention real quick, and I did mention this before, but when I originally was talking about the super GC, and I know I retracted on this, but just in case, you actually want to be pulling Messier 87, which looks like mess. it's at 1 degree Libra in my chart. It'd be like at 2 something now. I was originally telling you all to pull, I think I was telling y'all to pull Galactic Pole. I would still pull that, but the actual super galactic center is Messier 87. I would still pull Galactic Pole though, because I have this idea in my mind, like, okay, the super galactic center is it's outside of our galaxy. It's a center of this cluster of galaxies. It is outside our galaxy. So it's above our galaxy in some way, right? But it is tethered. I do think it's tethered to our galaxy. And I think the galactic pole might actually be how it's tethered. And when I say tether, I mean, obviously it's not really tethered, but it feels like it's tethered this way. it feels like it's linked to it. And I also think it's linked to the GC as well. Which feels like where the stress might come between the Galactic Center and the Super Galactic Center might be like, okay, like let's say you're getting a download from something, or you feel like you're getting downloads or information from somewhere else. It might be hard to tell exactly where you're getting it from. Are you getting it from the Galactic Center or the Super Galactic Center? That would, of course, I think, depend on your chart as to, you know, if you've got any conjunctions to the GC or to the Super GC. If you've got conjunctions to both, it feels like it might be even more, there might be even more stress or tension. But I would pull the galactic pole even so. The actual Super Galactic Center is Messier 87, but I would still pull the galactic pole because I do, and really, they're so fucking close. I mean, as you can see, you know, on mine, for instance, when I was born, you know, they're both fucking the South Node. I mean, one is at 1 Libra, the other one is at 29 Virgo. So they're right up each other's ass. And more than likely, if you've got a conjunction to one, you've got a conjunction to the other. So I would still pull it though, because I'm thinking to myself, like, planets conjunct the galactic pole, closer to the galactic pole, may have an easier time doing something with anything coming from above, like at the Super Galactic Center. Maybe because the galactic pole is in this galaxy. Perhaps I would still pull it. Anyway, these are just some thoughts. They're kind of all over the place, but that's kind of how my mind works when I'm thinking about this stuff. It's kind of all anyway. I'm gonna get going. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck With Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie's at Apaterno Astrology on Instagram. If you want to like or subscribe or whatever the fuck people do with videos on YouTube, you can find us by searching for Let's Fuck With Astrology in the YouTube search bar. And if you're already watching this on YouTube, you can like and subscribe below. If you do the Reddit thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck With Astrology. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.